Okay, good morning. My name is Jill Butler, and I'm a longtime member of First Pres, and I wanted to share with you some things today that you may not know about me. So I was the youngest of 6 kids, and I was raised on a farm in Illinois, and by the time I was 5 or 6, it seemed like all my siblings were always busy. So they had either left, gone off to college, or they were busy with school and school activities, and we didn't really have hardly any neighbors living close by. So even though I had a big family, I felt like I was alone a lot. And then the other thing you may not know about me is that I loved puppets. It's a little weird, but I loved puppets. So I grew up watching Sesame Street, and I had a wonderful collection of puppets. I had Bert and Ernie and Cookie Monster and Grover, all of those. And just to name a few. So, when you don't have a lot of friends to socialize with, you have to create your social life. And I would, again, it sounds kind of weird now, but I would create these elaborate parties with the puppets. So I would have them sit around the table, and I decided somebody's birthday, and I would, get party favors and snacks. You had to do something to fill the summer days, and we would celebrate that puppet's birthday. It was awesome. Okay, it does sound a little strange, and in fact, Clay Butler, when he was in 6th grade, did a class at Junior Achievement, and he came home and told me, okay, I've decided I'm going to start a competing real estate company called Golden Key, and I'm going to put you out of business with a public relations smear campaign. He was going to do a big ad campaign saying, see this woman? Would you trust your biggest investment with her, your home? She loves and plays with puppets. Switch over to Golden Key. So I get it. It was kind of weird. But when I look back, I really think I was doing what we are all wired to do, and that is create community. So whether it's with humans or puppets or otherwise, we are wired to connect. So I believe we are made to connect with each other, and I really think it is part of a spiritual practice. Our friendships, our relationships are so vital to us. Pre-COVID and post-COVID, the research shows that Americans are spending more and more time alone. We seem to have gotten used to being home alone. We tend to order everything online instead of going to the local store. We might be scrolling on our phone instead of having face-to-face conversations. And they really are saying this is not healthy for us. In fact, the Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, says we are living in a loneliness epidemic, and he calls it a public health crisis. And he said humans need that social connection so much that without it, it's as much risk as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, unvalued, and disconnected from others. So how do we look at connection and love as a skill, as something we can do and practice instead of just a feeling? What can we do to grow in love? And as Thich Nhat Hanh said, how do we want to water the seeds of love? So we need connection, like we need food and air. Scripture overflows with images of beloved community, friendships, and kinship. Jesus didn't just preach love, he practiced it through healing, listening, and showing up. But in modern life, we don't always know how to friend anymore. We're out of practice. We scroll instead of speak. We text instead of picking up the phone and talking. We close down when we could stay open. I recently read an article by neuroscientist Richard Davidson from the University of Wisconsin. He believes that as a society, we are really going through a time of division and loneliness, and in part because we have failed to cultivate well-being and caring for ourselves and for each other. So he believes many of the difficulties we're having in the world, polarization and greed, are at least in part stemming from this cause. We have lost our ability to increase our care and well-being. So he uses a beautiful phrase called microdosing well-being. And it means infusing small moments in your day with intention, love, and gratitude. So here's one of his practices. I just absolutely love this, and I've been trying to practice this. So every morning after he meditates, he opens his calendar and thinks about each person he'll meet that day. He brings them into his mind and into his heart, and he expresses gratitude for their work in the world and asks, how can I support them today? That is the heart of Davidson's mission, is well-being isn't something we just leave up to chance. It's a skill we can train. So it reminded me that love is a skill, and I wanted to think about what can we do to practice it every day. So here are 4 ways you can start microdosing love and well-being into your day. Okay, the first one, number 1, set a morning intention. Before you open your email or social media, pause. Think of the people you'll interact with today. Say a prayer of gratitude for them and ask, how can I show love or support to each of them? Number 2, let go of judgments. Expectations are a common source of distress and disconnection. When you find yourself judging someone or yourself, pause and say, this is just a story I'm telling. Maybe there's another way to see this. This humility and curiosity can transform our relationships. Deepak Chopra writes about letting go of judgment as a way to experience peace. He suggests the following prayer to let go of judgment for a day. So this is what he says to do. You say, today I will practice non-judgment. Today I will judge nothing that occurs. Today I will not classify, I will not label, I will not define, I will not evaluate. I will not analyze. Today I will shed the burden of judgment. So this is super hard for me. And so I even try like for 20 minutes, I'm gonna try not to judge, because sometimes like, oh, that's great, oh, that's not good, oh, I like this, oh, why did they do that? So even 20 minutes when I can just try, weirdly, like I feel lighter, and again, more light and less judging. Okay, a third practice, show up and spend time with other humans. Research suggests that it takes a significant amount of time to build a meaningful friendship. I thought this was fascinating. It's 20 to 30 hours to move from acquaintance to casual friend, 50 hours to become real friends, and 200 plus hours to form a close relationship. So these numbers come from a study by psychologist Jeffrey Hall at the University of Kansas, and they looked at people form and deepen relationships. And he found that shared time, especially in person and unstructured, like hanging out and talking, is the key to moving through these levels of connection. So in a world where we're often time-starved, this is a good reminder that friendship doesn't just happen. And I don't know if you notice this, but as adults, it's even harder. Like when you're in school, you can spend hours and hours a day with the same people, and that 200 hours, you get there. But as an adult, we have to be more intentional to make those like deeper connections. So that makes me think of First Pres. There are so many reasons I love this church, but the biggest reason is I get to receive and give love, and it's kind of a laboratory for practicing love. And I see it in many ways. The way we pass the peace with each other, with joy and enthusiasm, especially Vivian, she can teach us a lot. The way we value and make time for relationships. So whether it's getting together for dinners for 8 or dinners with friends, where we get to spend time and get together and get to know each other. And again, it's unstructured, but it's just listening and being together. Or spirited conversations once a month at Mi Ranchito, or Bible study. We are offered ways to invest ourselves and our time in building relationships. Okay, number 4, practice. Start tracking. So what you track improves. So start tracking and measuring love. I believe that what we focus on expands. If I focus on hatred and bad news and fear, it seems like that's what I notice. My brain almost starts looking for it. It's almost like a loop on repeat. But if I start trying to notice, like where did I see courage? Where did I see kindness in the world? Then that seems to grow and I see more and more of that. So I keep a journal and I ask the question, where did I see love today? And it's funny, like when you start looking for it, you start seeing it. So it might be something simple like, in our church, I see it all the time. But, you know, if Jenny Watkins is giving a talk and then she's walking down the steps, there's Jack, very tenderly there to hold her hand and help her. And I just see him like, oh my gosh, there's love. It can be, you know, I was in a store and I swear the person in the store greeted, every single person came in and said hi and gave them a compliment. And they were just like showing love. I'm like, it's all around us if we can see it. And then here's one more example of love. So my husband, Bruce, told me about a recent trip to the DMV. And it's, you know, not a chore most of us like to do. And he was not excited about spending a lot of time waiting. While he was there, he happened to see someone he knows, not well, but just kind of knows who they are. And Bruce was sitting and he saw the guy from across the room. And it was a man whose kids went to the same school as our kids. The man had recently had one of his kids pass away by suicide. Bruce doesn't know him well, and he wasn't sure what to say or if he should say anything. But he told me he remembered Bill saying that we are the light of the world and we should try to be light to other people. So he got up and sat down next to the man, and they just talked and shared funny stories of elementary school and the good and bad teachers that our kids had, and it was great. And although he initially wasn't sure what to do, it seemed like the next right action. So I really liked that story, because if I were in his place, I might not know what to say, and I might just stay in my seat, and I might just scroll on my phone. Like, I don't know what to do, so I'll just scroll on my phone. But I think if we're supposed to be the light of the world and not hide that light under a bushel, then that might mean like we're supposed to show up and we're supposed to connect with others, even when we sort of feel like shutting down. So to me, it just reminded me that like we don't always know what it is, but it's just kind of walking through and trying to be the light and trying to show love or connection in everyday practices. So this week, let's practice gratitude, intention, and connection. And let's remember that love is not just a feeling, it is a practice. I am so grateful for this community that shows me how to love. And in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., this community strives to be extremists for love. Amen.